Have you ever spent hours cleaning and organizing only to feel that the clutter somehow creeps back the very next day? It's frustrating, isn't it? We buy baskets, label boxes, fold clothes neatly, and yet our homes still feel heavy and overwhelming. The truth is, it's not just the mess we see, but the hidden weight our belongings carry. They drain our time, our space, and even our peace of mind. That's why in today's video, I want to share with you the simple but powerful methods that helped me finally break free from this cycle. These aren't just theories, I've applied them in my own home, and the difference has been life-changing. My space feels lighter, calmer, and more intentional than ever before. So if you've ever longed for a home that feels like a true sanctuary instead of a constant project, keep watching. And while you're here, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and share your own decluttering struggles in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. I've lost track of how many weekends I once poured into arranging every corner of my house. I would buy matching baskets, stick labels on each one, fold piles of clothes into perfect shapes, and line up shelves so precisely that they looked ready for a catalog photo. For a short time, it gave me a sense of accomplishment. Everything seemed under control, each object in its rightful place. But I slowly realized that this order was fragile. As soon as life got busy again, the systems I had worked so hard to create fell apart. Drawers would overflow, little stacks of clutter would reappear, and the peace I thought I had created would vanish almost overnight. The turning point for me wasn't about becoming better at organizing, it was about learning to release. Instead of endlessly shifting things from one basket to another, I began asking myself more honest questions. Do I truly need this? Does it add value to my life? Does it make me happy? These simple questions helped me recognize what really mattered. I wasn't trying to be harsh with myself or throw things away without thought. Rather, I was learning to make deliberate choices about what deserved space in my life. And with each item I chose to part with, I felt a surprising lightness, as though I was clearing not just shelves but also the weight inside my own head. This practice of letting go gave me a stability that no amount of organizing had ever offered. Once something left my home, I no longer had to manage it, clean around it, or make room for it. It was simply gone along with the burden it carried. Over time, my home stopped feeling like a project that constantly demanded upkeep. It became a place of ease, a refuge where I could truly rest and recharge. Surrounding myself only with things I genuinely appreciated created a sense of peace I hadn't known I was missing. These days, when I notice clutter sneaking back in, I remind myself organizing may tidy things for a moment, but only minimizing brings lasting change. It's not about striving for perfection. It's about shaping a space that reflects simplicity and calm, where both body and mind can breathe. And while the next step, especially letting go of sentimental items, can feel challenging, it is also the step that makes the freedom of a clutter-free life possible. If you're not sure where to start, the kitchen is a powerful place to begin. It's the heart of the home, and also one of the easiest spots to overlook when it comes to clutter. I've come to see something simple yet deeply true about clutter. The more things surround us, the heavier life feels. Every object in our homes carries a silent demand. It asks for our attention, our care, and even our mental space. Often we don't notice this hidden weight until we're standing in a room crowded with items we rarely use. I remember looking around my own kitchen, the counters buried under chipped mugs, old gadgets, and stacks of paper with no home. It wasn't just the mess that unsettled me, it was the constant reminder that I was managing more than I could realistically handle. That realization pushed me to observe my emotions more closely as I moved through my house. A drawer crammed with unused tools, closets overflowing with clothes I never touched. Each seemed to quietly drain my energy. The stress wasn't loud or dramatic. It appeared as little frustrations, small irritations, and a subtle sense of being weighed down throughout the day. Gradually, I understood that owning less wasn't about losing, it was about regaining a sense of freedom. When I finally began letting go, the change was immediate. Clearing a single section of the counter felt like lifting an invisible weight. Tidying one drawer brought a calm satisfaction, as if I had reclaimed control over more than just that space. Step by step simplicity began to restore a lightness in both my home and my mind. Walking through each room no longer filled me with tension, but with a quiet relief, almost like taking a fresh breath after being in a crowded place. This journey has shown me that our belongings hold power. They can support us, or they can quietly steal our energy if they don't serve a purpose. Minimalism isn't about perfection. It's about choosing with intention and creating space for what truly matters. Building on that idea, here's something else worth noticing. I've come to understand that letting go of unnecessary possessions does far more than tidy up a room, it changes the rhythm of daily life. In the beginning, I thought decluttering was simply about making my home appear organized and neat. But as I gradually released things I no longer needed, I realized the transformation went deeper. Each object I removed didn't just free up shelf space, it also created breathing room in my mind. Living with less pushed me to slow down and ask myself what truly added value to my life. Every decision, what to keep, what to use, what to part with, became more thoughtful and intentional. Over time, I began to notice subtle but meaningful shifts in how I lived. Managing my schedule felt easier because I wasn't constantly distracted by the presence of clutter. I no longer wasted minutes searching for items hidden under piles or buried in drawers. Even my financial choices became more deliberate. Before buying something new, I would pause and ask, do I really need this? Will it serve me well? That simple pause made me more mindful and less impulsive. My everyday routines, too, grew smoother and calmer. Choosing what to wear or preparing meals became quicker because there were fewer options fighting for my attention. The impact reached my well-being as well. With fewer things to maintain, cleaning turned into a lighter, almost soothing task instead of a never-ending burden. Moving through my home felt easier, more natural, as though the space itself was finally supporting me. I started to cherish those quiet, intentional moments, waking up in a bedroom that felt open and serene, sipping tea in a living room free of clutter, or preparing dinner on a clean, clear countertop. These small, simple experiences carried a kind of peace that spread into other parts of my life, my habits, my relationships, and even the way I cared for myself. Perhaps the most empowering part of this journey was the confidence it gave me. Each decision to release something that no longer served me reminded me that I was capable of creating a life aligned with my values. Minimalism, I discovered, has nothing to do with deprivation. It's about choosing deliberately, focusing on what brings meaning, and allowing space for joy and purpose to grow. With every item I let go, I created more room physically, emotionally, and mentally for what matters most. So before we continue, I invite you to pause for a moment. Picture your home feeling lighter, calmer, and more intentional. That vision is closer than you think, and it's the perfect foundation for what comes next. Over time, I've discovered that the objects we no longer use can still carry value in someone else's hands. For a long while, I held on to things out of habit, telling myself they might come in handy one day. In truth, they only ended up forgotten, quietly taking space in the corners of my home. The moment I finally allowed myself to part with them, I realized it wasn't just about freeing space, it was about opening a path to kindness. I can clearly recall one afternoon spent sorting through my kitchen drawers. I came across extra utensils jars that had been sitting untouched for months and gadgets I had never even tried. In the past, I would have tucked them away again, convincing myself I'd use them later. That day, however, I decided differently. I gathered the items that still had life in them and brought them to a nearby community center. Watching something as simple as a spoon or storage jar become useful for another family was unexpectedly heartwarming. What I once viewed as clutter suddenly turned into a way of helping. That experience changed how I think about simplicity. Minimalism, I realized, is not only about bringing calm to our own surroundings, but also about extending care outward. Every small choice to let go can ripple beyond us, whether it's a stack of books, a set of dishes, or toys a child has outgrown. Each item has the power to ease another person's day or add a spark of joy where it's most needed. Now decluttering no longer feels like losing, it feels like giving. My rooms are lighter, my mind clearer, and I carry with me the quiet joy of knowing that what I release continues to serve in new ways. In the same way, this next point connects closely to what we just discussed. One of the most unexpected gifts I've discovered through simplifying my home is the way it deepens my sense of gratitude. For years, my house overflowed with things, clothes that rarely left the closet, kitchen tools I barely touched, and decorative pieces that only gathered dust. Surrounded by so much, I hardly noticed the value of what was already there. Isn't it curious? The more we accumulate, the easier it becomes to overlook the quiet beauty of the items right in front of us. When I began intentionally letting go, my perspective shifted. The pieces I chose to keep held meaning. They were useful, comforting, or simply made me happy. A mug I reach for every morning, a sweater that keeps me warm on cold evenings, or a well-loved book that never fails to soothe me, these things became treasures instead of background clutter. With fewer distractions, I could finally see and appreciate them for the role they played in my daily life. This change also made me more attentive to small details I used to ignore. I found myself pausing to enjoy the sunlight spilling across my living room floor, the cozy texture of a favorite blanket, or the inviting scent of dinner cooking in a pan I truly enjoyed using. Simple moments like these, once buried under the weight of too many possessions, became daily reminders of abundance. Gratitude began to grow naturally as I learned to notice the ordinary in a new way. Living with less even touched my relationships. I started valuing people and experiences more than things, realizing that shared laughter or meaningful conversations brought far greater joy than anything I could buy. Minimalism, I've come to understand, isn't about stripping life bare. It's about creating enough space both around us and within us to fully embrace what matters most. In choosing less, I discovered more room for appreciation, peace, and genuine joy. So, if you've ever felt weighed down by too much, know this: gratitude often begins not with adding more, but with letting go. And in the next part, I'll share how even the smallest steps can bring surprisingly big changes. I've realized that tidying my home is about much more than keeping things neat. It's a way of understanding myself on a deeper level. Each time I choose to organize or let go of something unnecessary, I uncover which belongings genuinely hold value and which ones are simply occupying space. I remember keeping clothes I never wore, always convincing myself I might need them one day. Donating them felt like lifting a quiet burden I didn't know I carried, and with that came a sense of freedom I hadn't expected. This practice also made me more conscious of my routines. I began to see which items I reached for daily and which ones I constantly overlooked. These small observations influenced how I shop, reminding me to bring in only what adds meaning or joy. In many ways, minimalism has become like a mirror. It shows me what I truly value and highlights the choices that shape my lifestyle. Beyond that, simplifying has brought a sense of calm I now treasure. After long, busy days, stepping into a room where everything feels intentional is like receiving a gentle comfort. I often tell my friends that cleaning isn't just about chores, it's a quiet act of self-care. Even small efforts like clearing a cluttered shelf or arranging books with care can instantly shift my mood and help me feel more focused. Most importantly, embracing minimalism has taught me patience and gratitude. I now approach my home thoughtfully, recognizing the role each object plays in my life. This mindful approach has strengthened my connection to my living space and reminded me that when our surroundings are in harmony, our minds feel lighter too. Decluttering, I've learned, isn't just about space, it's about self discovery and peace. Before we move forward, let's connect this to the bigger picture. I've come to see that choosing to live with fewer belongings benefits not only me, but also gently shapes the people around me. When I carefully decide what stays and what goes, my home becomes a space filled with clarity and calm. Family members often comment on the peaceful atmosphere and ask how I manage to keep it that way. In those moments, I realize that my small intentional choices quietly serve as an example that it's possible to live fully without being burdened by excess. Friends and neighbors too often notice. The simple act of keeping a shelf organized or leaving counters free of clutter has sparked countless conversations about priorities, daily routines, and even the deeper meaning of a balanced life. One friend once told me that visiting my home made her rethink the way she shopped, encouraging her to pause before bringing more into her space. Moments like these remind me that simplicity has a ripple effect. What we do for ourselves can subtly inspire others to shift their own habits. This way of living has also nurtured humility and generosity within me. Each time I release items I no longer use, I create opportunities for others to benefit. Passing along clothing books or household goods becomes more than decluttering, it transforms into a quiet act of kindness. I've come to appreciate the idea that our possessions can serve beyond our personal needs, offering comfort, joy, or support to someone else. In the end, embracing a lifestyle of less is more than just an organizing strategy. It's a statement about what we value. It communicates intention, balance, and care. And by living this way openly, I hope to encourage others to reflect on their own choices. Decluttering is not simply about discarding, it's about creating room for peace, for generosity, and for a sense of connection that extends beyond our own four walls. If you've ever thought minimalism is only about giving things up, you may be surprised at the inspiration and impact it can quietly bring. I've come to understand that our time, energy, and finances are precious, and no matter how much we wish, otherwise, they are finite. A house weighed down by unnecessary possessions quietly drains all three. In the early days of trying to keep my home orderly, I often found myself worn out after hours of arranging items I barely used. It left me frustrated, realizing that the effort I poured into managing clutter was stealing moments I could have spent with my loved ones pursuing hobbies or simply resting without guilt. What changed everything was learning to live with less. By asking myself whether each item truly served a purpose, I began redirecting my resources toward what added genuine value. Instead of cluttering my shelves with the latest kitchen gadgets that rarely left their boxes, I chose to invest in a few quality tools that made everyday cooking smoother and more enjoyable. Clearing out my wardrobe brought a similar relief. I no longer wasted mornings sifting through forgotten clothes or spending money on things I already owned. Each choice became deliberate, aligning with my priorities and conserving the energy I once squandered on excess. This shift also invited a deeper sense of patience and reflection. Before bringing anything new into my home, I now pause to ask, will this enrich my life, or will it simply take up space? More often than not, I discover that letting go feels far more liberating than holding on. With fewer possessions to manage, I've gained more clarity, more peace, and a stronger focus on what matters most. Ultimately, honoring the limits of our resources allows us to live with greater intention. Every item we keep, every hour we spend, and every dollar we invest becomes part of a conscious choice. A simplified home, I've found, is not just about beauty or tidiness, it's a reflection of mindful living where energy is channeled into experiences and connections that bring true fulfillment. If you thought this was useful, wait until you hear what's coming next. I've learned that the secret to a calm home isn't how neatly we arrange our belongings, it's how much we decide not to let in. For years, I relied on shelves, boxes, and clever organizers convinced that was the solution. Yet somehow the piles always returned. It felt like a never ending cycle of tidying, and deep down I knew I was only rearranging the problem, not solving it. I wonder if you've ever felt that same weariness, the sigh that escapes when you've just finished cleaning, only to know tomorrow the mess will creep back again. My turning point arrived when I shifted my mindset from organizing to choosing with intention. These days, before bringing anything new into my space, I pause and ask myself two simple but powerful questions. Do I truly need this? Does it add real joy or value to my life? That short moment of reflection has completely changed how I live. It isn't about denying myself comfort or beauty, it's about honoring my home and my peace of mind. We all know the regret of impulse purchases that end up forgotten in a corner. By being honest with myself in that small ritual, I stop clutter before it even begins. The impact of this approach has been remarkable. First, my wallet feels lighter in the best way. Fewer unnecessary purchases mean more savings and less financial stress. Second, the atmosphere at home has shifted. Walking into a space where every item has meaning brings a calm I can't put a price on. Less to clean, less to manage, less to worry about. And the time I used to waste on endless tidying. Now I spend it reading, sharing quiet moments with loved ones, or simply breathing in the silence. Minimalism for me isn't about sacrifice, it's about freedom. My home is no longer a storage unit, but a sanctuary that nurtures me. I hope my little ritual inspires you too, because a lighter space truly makes for a lighter heart. I poured my energy into spotless surfaces, scrubbing every corner, polishing tables, and chasing away dust. The result looked fine, but something was missing. What I truly craved was not just cleanliness, but a sense of joy the moment I stepped inside. The real transformation happens when we shift from simply cleaning to intentionally shaping spaces that make us feel alive. Imagine that warm, settling breath you release as soon as you walk in the door, that quiet sense of belonging. That's the feeling I want my home to give me every single day. These days, I design my space to reflect who I am and what matters to me. I no longer hold on to objects just because they were gifts or might be useful one day. Instead, I keep and display only the things that spark peace or tender memories. For instance, I replace generic prints with a gallery wall of family photos and souvenirs from trips that shaped me. My favorite little reading nook isn't just neat, it's layered with my coziest blanket, a soft lamp, and a few beloved books I return to often. This choice to surround myself with meaning has changed everything. When I glance at my kitchen counter, I don't want to see bills and clutter. I want to see a clean surface ready for a fresh beginning. After long days spent juggling schedules or traffic, walking into a calm, uncluttered home soothes me in ways no checklist ever could. It's like telling myself the outside chaos ends here. Crafting a joyful home is an ongoing conversation. By giving each item a place and filling those places only with things I cherish, my house has become more than shelter. It's a sanctuary. And maybe today you can choose one small shift that makes your space feel like a gentle embrace too. These are the 10 simple approaches I've been practicing each week to keep my home light calm and inspiring, a space that supports both peace of mind and a healthier daily rhythm. Each choice to simplify has not only made my surroundings easier to maintain, but has also created room for joy and intention to grow. If you're searching for more motivation and practical ways to make cleaning less overwhelming, I invite you to explore other videos on my channel. What matters most is not just listening, but gently applying these ideas into your own routines so they truly transform your space. To continue this journey, I also have a video dedicated to uncovering unnecessary items often hiding in the kitchen. Watching it next will help you free up space, save time, and make everyday living smoother. And if this video has given you inspiration, please like, share, and subscribe because you deserve a home that feels lighter, kinder, and more breathable with every single day.